Have you ever been there, standing in a grocery store aisle just completely frozen by, I don't know, 50 different kinds of milk or jam? Well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to dive into the really surprising and kind of stressful world of making decisions and why having more choices can actually make us a whole lot less happy.
You know, the psychologist Barry Schwartz just hits the nail on the head here. We're always told that freedom of choice is like the ultimate goal, right? But what if we've hit a tipping point? What if all this abundance is actually making us less free and definitely less happy? So that's the big question we're going to tackle. We're going to unpack the science behind this feeling, explore the two main ways people make decisions, and then uncover these invisible cultural scripts that are guiding our every move without us even realizing it.
All right, so let's start by looking at this whole phenomenon in action. Researchers actually have a name for it: choice overload. And trust me, once you see it, you are going to start noticing it absolutely everywhere. Okay, this is perfectly captured by the classic jam study. So picture this. Researchers set up a tasting booth in a grocery store. On some days, they offered 24 different types of jam. Crowds gathered, people tasted, but only 3% actually bought a jar. But when they switched it up and offered just 6 options, bam! Sales jumped to 30%. That is a massive difference. It's such a stunning example of how too many choices just paralyzes us.
And that feeling, it has a name: choice overload. It's that brain-fried, total exhaustion you feel after scrolling endlessly through Netflix or trying to compare 100 different sneakers online. It's draining. And what's worse, it often leaves us with that nagging feeling of, did I make the right choice?
And listen, this isn't just about jam or what movie to watch. Choice overload has some serious real-world consequences. Take this number, 2%. What in the world could that possibly represent?
Well, that 2% is the drop in employee retirement plan participation for every 10 additional fund options they were offered. Faced with this bewildering, complex array of choices, a lot of people just gave up and chose nothing at all. And that's a decision that could potentially cost them thousands and thousands in retirement savings.
So, what is going on in our heads when this happens? To really get it, we need to look at our personal decision-making styles. Psychologists pretty much group us into two camps: maximizers and satisficers. So as I describe them, see if you can figure out which one you are.
So first up, we've got the maximizer. This is the person who absolutely needs to be sure they've made the best possible choice. They are going to research every single option, read every review, compare every feature before they even think about committing. It's like a quest for the perfect outcome.
And then there's the satisficer. This person, they've got a list of criteria in their head, and the second they find an option that checks those boxes, they're done. It doesn't have to be the theoretical best thing in the entire world, just good enough for them.
And here's how they stack up side by side. Maximizers go on this exhaustive, draining search for the absolute best, which, ironically, often leaves them second-guessing their choice later on. Satisficers, on the other hand, just need to meet their standards, and that generally leads to way more satisfaction. In our world of infinite choice, you can see how being a maximizer can be a recipe for just permanent anxiety.
But here is where it gets really fascinating. Is this internal struggle the same for everyone, everywhere? Not even close. It turns out that our entire approach to making a choice isn't just personal, it's deeply, deeply programmed by our culture.
This is such a huge insight from cross-cultural research. We tend to think of decision-making as this purely personal, rational thing we do. But in reality, our culture gives us this unwritten script, like a decision code that guides us every single step of the way. And researchers have kind of broken this decision code down into 4 core questions that every culture answers a little differently. First, do I even need to make a choice here? Second, who decides? Is it me or my family or maybe my whole community? Third, how much effort is this decision even worth? And finally, what does a good choice even look like? So, let's take the question of who decides. In a really individualistic culture like the US, the ideal is the lone person making a choice based on their own personal preference. It's all about self-expression. But in a lot of collectivistic cultures, like in India, big decisions are often a group project. The goal isn't to express your own individuality, it's to maintain harmony in the group. And seeking advice isn't a sign of weakness, it's a critical part of the process.
Or how about the investment of time and effort? In the US, being decisive and moving fast is often seen as a virtue, a sign of a strong leader. But in Japan,
Taking a long time to deliberate and consider every single angle is valued as thoroughness. What one culture might call being indecisive, another one calls wisdom.
So, armed with all this knowledge about choice overload, about our own tendencies, and about cultural influence, what can we actually do about it? How can we make better decisions without feeling so completely overwhelmed? Let's get practical. Okay, here are 4 really powerful strategies you can start using today. First, consciously embrace good enough. Try being a satisficer just for a bit, even if it feels unnatural. Second, make what are called second-order decisions. These are basically rules that eliminate future choices. For example, deciding I only wear blue or gray suits. Third, become a choice architect in your own life. Organize your closet, your pantry, your apps to make the common choices effortless. And finally, and this one is crucial, once you make a decision, commit to it. Stop torturing yourself with the what-ifs.
And that brings us to our final thought. We're taught that more choice equals more freedom. But maybe true freedom isn't about having unlimited options. Maybe it's about having the wisdom to create meaningful limits for ourselves. In a world that offers us literally everything, perhaps the smartest choice we can make is to choose less.